Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this little cat. For this cat, you're going to be needing 3 different types of yarn. I'm going to be using brown for the body. I'm going to be using this thin black yarn for the whiskers. If you don't have thin black yarn, you can just use regular black yarn. And then I'm also going to be using black yarn for the mouth. The mouth and the whiskers can be made with the same type of yarn, but just for this tutorial I'm going to be using thin yarn for the whiskers and regular yarn for the mouth. So that's 3 different types of yarn, or just the yarn color of your body and then black yarn. And then you're also going to be needing some safety eyes. If you don't have safety eyes, then you can just use black yarn for this as well. And then a darning needle, some scissors, some stuffing, and I am using a 3.75mm crochet hook for this cat. Anyway, now that that's all out of the way, let's go ahead and begin. Okay, we're going to go ahead and begin with the very top of our cat. So go ahead and grab the yarn that you're going to be using for the body and make a magic ring. If you don't like using the magic ring method, you can do any other method that you prefer, like the slip knot and chain 2 method, but again, I'm going to be using a magic ring. Once you've made your magic ring, go ahead and chain 1, and into this loop you're going to make 6 single crochets. Go ahead and make 6 single crochets into your magic ring. That's 4, 5, and 6. And if you're doing the magic ring method, go ahead and pull on your little tail of yarn to close the hole. And to finish off this round, we're going to slip stitch into the very first stitch that we've made. And we're going to chain 1. Okay, there we have round number 1 completed. And now we're going to go ahead and start round number 2. So the repeat round for round 2 is going to be doing an increase in every stitch around. Again, we're going to increase in every stitch around. At the end of this row, you should have gone from 6 stitches to 12. Again, at the end of this round, you should have a total of 12 stitches as we are repeating the increase. Go ahead and continue this and I'll meet you when I'm done. Once you're done with your increases, you should have a total of 12 stitches. Go ahead and finish off with a slip stitch and chain 1. And now we're on round 3. The repeat for round 3, you're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 increase all the way around. Again, that's 1 single crochet and 1 increase all the way around. At the end, you should have a total of 18 stitches. Go ahead and repeat this and I'll meet you when I'm done. Okay, I just finished round 3. I have a total of 18 stitches. I'm going to slip stitch into my very first stitch and chain 1. And now we're on to round number 4. The repeat for round 4 is you're going to do 2 single crochets and an increase all the way around until you get to the very end. Again, for round 4, the repeat is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase all the way around until you get to the very end. At the end of the round, you should have a total of 24 stitches. Go ahead and repeat this pattern and I'll meet you when I'm done. Okay, I just finished round 4. I have a total of 24 stitches. Again, finishing off with a slip stitch and chain 1. And now we're on round number 5. The repeat for round 5 is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase all the way around. Again, that's 3 single crochets and an increase all the way around until you get to the very end. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 30 stitches. Go ahead and repeat this pattern and I will meet you when I am done. Okay, I just finished round 5 and I'm going to slip stitch and I'm going to chain 1. And now for rounds 6 through 11, we're going to go ahead and just do single crochets all around, not doing any more increases, and we're going to keep a stitch count of 30. So for round 5, we ended off with a stitch count of 30, and now for rounds 6 through 11, we're just going to keep doing regular single crochets without any increases. Again, keeping a stitch count of 30 at the end of those rounds. So go ahead and repeat that all the way around for a total of 6 rounds, and I will go ahead and meet you when I'm done. Okay, I just finished round 11, and so I did my 6 rounds of just single crochets, and I finished every single round with a slip stitch and chain 1. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish off this one, round 11, with the slip stitch and chain 1 as well. And now we're going to move on to round number 12. So for round number 12, we're going to start our decreases, and the repeat pattern for this round is doing 3 single crochets and a decrease all the way around. So I'm going to show you how I do my decreases. So I'm going to do my 3 single crochets. That's 1, 2, and 3. And then for my decrease, what I do is I'm going to go into the very first, I'm going to go through the front stitch of this next stitch. So if you see, we have 2. I am just going to go through the front, like so. Okay? And then I'm going to go through the front loop of the stitch right after, like so. So I'm in the front loop of 2 stitches. Then I'm going to grab yarn. I'm going to pull through both of those, and then I have 2 stitches left. I'm going to grab yarn and pull through those 2. Okay, I'm going to show you that one more time. Again, the repeat for this round is 3 single crochets and a decrease. That's 2, that's 3. 3 single crochets, once again our decrease. So you see that we have these little V stitches that we've been working into. Instead of working into both of them, we're only going to work into the front one. So we're in the front loop of that stitch. We're going to move our hook down and go through the front loop of the stitch right after. Then we're going to grab yarn, pull through both of those stitches. We have 2 loops left. We're going to grab yarn and pull through both of them. Okay, that's how I do my decreases. You can do them however you like. Again, we're going to go ahead and just repeat the pattern of 3 single crochets and a decrease for round number 12. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 24 stitches. Go ahead and repeat that pattern, and I will meet you when I'm done. Okay, I just finished round 12. I'm going to slip stitch into the very first stitch, and I'm going to chain 1. And now I'm going to loosen up my yarn because now we're going to go ahead and add our eyes. So for me, I'm using safety eyes, but if you have a darning needle and some black yarn, you can use those as safety eyes, or you can use those as the eyes as well. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do that. So again, I am going to be using safety eyes for this tutorial, but if you have black yarn, all you would need to do to make the eyes is bring your darning needle and your black yarn through the inside of your work and bring it through one of the stitches. Pull your yarn through, and then where you've pulled, find the stitch right below it, and then push your darning needle inside. And then you would have your eye, and then all you would have to do is turn your work inside out like this, and then make a knot with both sides of your yarn. And that's how you would make both of your eyes. But again, since I'm going to be using my safety eyes, I'm going to be doing that instead for the video. So where I'm going to be placing my eyes is, first of all, where we made our slip stitch and chain 1, that's going to be the back of the head. So we're going to go ahead and turn this around, and this is going to be the front. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just like keeping this in the back. And where I'm going to be placing it is in between rows 8 and 9, 5 stitches apart. So find rows 8 and 9, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 and 9. It's going to be in between those 2 rows. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to place it right in between those, like so. And I'm not going to use the backs just yet because I want them to be evenly apart. And again, they're going to be 5 stitches apart. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to place it into the 6th one. So there's 5 stitches visibly in between. Okay, and just to double check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 stitches, and that's what it looks like. Again, I placed my eyes between rows 8 and 9, 5 stitches in between. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and fasten these up in the back. Okay, now that those are fastened, we can go ahead and sew on the mouth. And now you're going to go ahead and grab your black yarn and your darning needle, and we will sew the mouth in. So for the mouth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and find one of the eyes, and I'm going to find the stitch that is going to be 2 stitches over away from the eye. So this is the eye, this is 1 stitch over, and then this is the second stitch. And then we're gonna go down 1 from that stitch, and that's where we're going to enter and place the first part of our mouth. Again, this is our eye. This is going to be space 1, space 2. We're gonna go down 1. That's where we're going to bring our hook through, or our darning needle through, from the inside of the work that we're doing, like so. And then from there, we're going to go left 1 and then down 1. We're going to go ahead and bring our needle through there, like so. So you have this little slant. And now from where we just placed our hook through, we're going to go up 1 and then left 1. And we're going to go through there, except from the inside, since that's where our yarn is. And then we're going to go back through the bottom, like so. And now all you're going to have to do is tie it up from the inside. So just make a few knots. And then snip off the excess yarn. And there you have your mouth. And now we're going to go on to sewing the whiskers. For sewing the whiskers, you can use the same yarn that you used for your mouth, but I'm going to be using thinner yarn just because I have some left over. And you can place your whiskers however you want. I'm just going to be doing 3 lines, starting from the eye, going away from the mouth. And so the very first one, I'm just going to place right underneath the eye. So I'm going to bring my needle right below where the eye is and pull it through. Then I'm just going to go over 3 stitches and up 1, bring my needle through there, and pull it like that. Okay, I'm going to take this exact same needle and I'm just going to go through the stitch right below where I first entered and bring my needle through there. And I'm going to be doing the exact same thing, 3 over, except this time I'm going down 1. And then I'm just going to place 1 more right in the middle of both of them. Just keeping it 1 stitch apart. There's no right or wrong way that you can make your whiskers. They are completely up to however you want them to look. And I'm just going to go ahead and tighten this a little bit. There we go. And then there you have your whiskers, and I'm going to be doing the exact same thing on the other side off camera. To fasten these off, all you're going to do is you're going to go on the inside. Let me move my yarn from my mouth, if I can. And I'm just going to tie this just like how I tied the mouth. We are just going to do a few knots in place just so they don't become undone. And because this is a thinner yarn, it's a little harder to do. But once it's done, you can go ahead and snip off the excess strands of yarn. And there you have one side of your whiskers. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other side off camera, but we're doing the exact same thing on the other side, finishing off with a few knots inside and snipping off excess yarn. I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, and I'm done with the other side of the whiskers, and now we're going to go ahead and continue with our crocheting. So we finished off on round number 12 with 24 stitches, and now we're going to go ahead and move on to round number 13. And we should have finished off with a slip stitch and chain 1. So now we're on round number 13, and our repeat for this round is going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease all the way around until you get to the very end. At the end of this row, you should have a total of 18 stitches. Again, the repeat for this round is 2 single crochets and a decrease all the way around, and at the end you should have a total of 18 stitches. Go ahead and repeat this, and I will meet you when I'm done. Okay, I just finished round 13. I have 18 stitches. I'm going to finish off with a slip stitch and chain 1, and we're going to once again loosen up our yarn, and this time we are just going to go ahead and stuff our head. You don't have to stuff it all the way, you can stuff it as you go, but you will want to start stuffing now before the hole becomes too small. And go ahead and stuff it, and I'm going to go ahead and do mine off camera. Okay, I stuffed mine a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and stuff the rest as I go. And we're going to go ahead and continue crocheting. We finished off on round 13 with a total of 18 stitches, and we ended off with a slip stitch and chain 1. And now we're moving on to round number 14. The repeat for round 14 is going to be 1 single crochet and 1 decrease all the way around until you get to the very end. At the end you should have a total of 12 stitches. Again, that's 1 single crochet and 1 decrease all the way around. Go ahead and repeat that, and I'll meet you when I'm done. Okay, I just finished round 14. I'm going to slip stitch and chain 1. Now we're on round 15. The repeat pattern for round 15 is going to be 1 single crochet and 1 increase all the way around until you get to the very end. We're not decreasing anymore, we're going to do an increase now. So again, the repeat pattern for round 15 is 1 single crochet and 1 increase all the way around until you get to the very end. At the end you should have a total of 18 stitches. Go ahead and repeat this, and I'll meet you when I'm done. Okay, round 15 is done. I'm going to slip stitch and chain 1. And then for round 16, the repeat pattern is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. Again, for round 16, that's 2 single crochets and an increase all the way around. At the end, you should have a total of 24 stitches, and right now would be the perfect time to continue stuffing your head, as we are now moving on to the body part, or the body portion. So go ahead and continue this, and I will meet you when I'm done. Okay, I just finished round 16, and I did stuff the head a little more, and I'm going to finish off again with a slip stitch and chain 1 as we've been doing. And now for rounds 17 through 21, we're just going to do continuous single crochets all around. Again, that's going to be 5 rounds of just continuous single crocheting. At the end of every round, you're going to slip stitch into the very first stitch and chain 1. So again, for rounds 17 through 21, that's 5 rounds in total. We're just going to continuously do single crochets all around. No increasing or decreasing, just single crochets. Go ahead and repeat that all the way around, and I will meet you when I'm done. I just did my 5 rounds of single crochets, and so I just finished round 21. I'm going to finish off by slip stitching and chaining 1, and now we're moving on to round 22. So for round 22, we're going to go back to our decreases, and the repeat for round 22 is going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease all the way around. Again, that's 2 single crochets and a decrease all the way around, and at the end you should have a total of 18 stitches. Go ahead and repeat this, and feel free to pause the video, and I'll meet you when I'm done. I just finished round 22. I have 18 stitches. I'm gonna slip stitch and chain 1. And now I'm gonna loosen up my yarn, and now we're gonna go ahead and start stuffing again. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera. I've gone ahead and stuffed, and now we're moving on to round 23. The repeat pattern for round 23 is going to be 1 single crochet and 1 decrease all the way around. Again, that's 1 single crochet, 1 decrease all the way around until you get to the very end. At the end, you should have a total of 12 stitches. Okay, just finished round 23. I have a total of 12 stitches. I'm going to slip stitch and chain 1, and now would be a good idea to stuff as you go. Now we're going to move on to round 24. The repeat for round 24 is just going to be doing a decrease all the way around until you get to the very end. At the end you should have a total of 6 stitches, but if you do have a little bit of a gap left in your work, that's totally fine, because we are going to sew the rest shut. So go ahead and just do your decreases and stuff as you go, and I will meet you when I'm done. Okay, and as always, to finish off round 24, we're going to slip stitch and chain 1. And now what we're going to do is we are going to cut a long strand of yarn. I'd say about at least 10 inches. And again, we finished off with a chain 1, and then we're just going to pull the cut yarn through. Okay, and now what we're going to do to sew in this hole is we are going to go ahead and grab the yarn that we just cut and our darning needle, and we're going to sew this shut. And what I like to do is I like to go through just the front loops of the stitches that we just did. You can do this however you'd like, whichever way is easier, but I just like going through the front loops like so, just back and forth through these 6 loops that we have. 3, and then once we have gone back and forth through the loops, we can just pull on it like a drawstring bag and the loop closes. Now what I'm going to do to fasten this off is I'm going to go through some random loops like so, and then bring my yarn through this loop and pull tight to fasten off. And now, just to make it extra secure, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this needle, I'm going to put it through one of the stitches like so, and I'm going to pull it out through the side or the back of our project. And I'm going to do that a few times just so the yarn doesn't come undone. Once is usually enough, but I like to do it a few times just for peace of mind, like so. Then you can just take your yarn off your darning needle, snip off the rest, like so. Okay, and now you have your body of the cat, and now we're going to go ahead and move on to the arms, legs, and the ears. And I'll go ahead and show you how to do that now. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and move on to the arms and feet. Both arms and both feet are going to be made exactly the same way, so I'm just going to show you how to do one. And we're going to start off with a magic ring and a chain 1. Into this magic ring, you're going to make 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to pull my yarn to close it off, and we are not going to slip stitch and chain 1. Instead, what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and grab a different colored yarn or a stitch marker if that's what you'd prefer, and I'm going to put it right after the last stitch that we made, and we are just going to go ahead and immediately start round 2. So we're just going to go into the very first stitch that we made and do a single crochet. And so for the arm and feet, we're just going to do 4 continuous rounds of single crochets, keeping a stitch count of 6. So we just did round 1, and now we're going to go ahead and do round 2. We're just going to single crochet around, and it might be difficult to do because it's kind of hard to just do 6 single crochets around because the stitches start to get really tight. But that's what we're going to do. It's going to be 4 rounds in total. So that's 5, and last stitch of the round, 6. Okay, so that's 2 rounds of just single crochets, and now I'm going to move my stitch marker up to mark my place. Round 3, again, we're just going to do 6 single crochets. Okay. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we just finished round 3. This is what it looks like so far. Then we're going to move our stitch marker up one more time, and that's going to be our 4th round. Again, we're just doing 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so we have 4 continuous rounds of single crochet stitches, and I'm just going to move the stitch marker out. And to finish off, we're just going to chain 1, and we're going to cut a long strand of yarn, again about 10 inches. And don't forget to chain 1 because you don't want your work to come undone, and then you just pull your yarn through like so. And then this extra piece of yarn that you have from your darning needle that's in now the inside of your arm or foot that you've made. And for that, we're just going to go ahead and just stuff this into the arm. And to do that, I'm going to grab my scissors. You don't want to cut the yarn, you just want to sort of just pick up the yarn with your scissors and push the yarn in. And that's about as much stuffing as you would need for this arm since it's really small. There we go. And there you have one of your pieces. And we're going to go ahead and make a total of 4 of these. Go ahead and make the other 3, and I will go ahead and meet you when I'm done. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and move on to the ears. And we're going to start off with a magic ring and chain 1. And to the magic ring, go ahead and make 6 single crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tighten up your magic ring. And again, we're not going to slip stitch or chain 1. We're just going to continuously work around. For round 2, we are going to go ahead and do a repeat of 2 single crochets and an increase, except this time we're just going to repeat it twice. So round 2, we're going to start off with 2 single crochets. That's 1, that's 2. Then we're going to do an increase. Then we're going to repeat that one more time. So 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and then we're going to do an increase to finish off this round. Okay, we should have a total of 8 stitches, and I'm going to move my stitch marker up. And now for round 3 and 4, we're just going to do single crochets, keeping a stitch count of 8. So that's 2 rounds of just single crocheting all around, and I will meet you when I'm done. Okay, I did my 2 rounds of single crochets. I ended off on round 4. We're going to finish off with a chain 1, and we're going to cut off a long strand of yarn, again about 10 inches. And for the ear, we're going to do the exact same thing by taking the yarn that we used in the beginning for our magic ring. We are just going to take some scissors and stuff that into the ears. Okay, and there you have your ear. Go ahead and make 1 more of these, and then we're going to go on to sewing these onto the body. Okay, I've gotten both of my arms and legs done, and then my 2 ears, and now we're just going to go ahead and start sewing them. And so what we want to do is, I'm going to start off with one of the arms. I'm going to attach my darning needle to the arm yarn that we cut. And the first thing that I'm going to do is the hole at the top of our darning, or at the top of our work, I'm just going to go ahead and sew it shut with the yarn that I have. So just going back and forth through the stitches like so. And now I'm going to go ahead and take this arm, and I'm going to see where I want it on my body, and I'm going to go ahead and sew it here. So you can sew it wherever you'd like. You can sew it where it bends, so like where it goes from the head to the body, you can sew it right there, or you can sew it a little down, wherever you'd like. I am going to sew it on the second round from the head. or the second round of the body. So I'm going to skip the round that goes into the bend, and I'm going to work into this one right here. It doesn't have to be perfect, you just need to sort of eye it. And once I figured out my placement, I'm just going to hold it down with my thumb. It's going to be right there. I'm going to take my darning needle, and I'm not going to go all the way through the stitches. What I'm going to do is, well, I'm going to show you just for reference. So I'm going to go ahead and go through just the upper part of the stitch to sew it in. I'm not going to go all the way down and through like so, because that makes it look a little bumpy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring my darning needle through the top little stitch that I can see, the little V at the top that you can see. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So again, place your arm wherever you think it looks good. I'm going to place it right here. And then I'm going to take my darning needle, and this is where my yarn is. I'm going to just bring my hook or my darning needle through the stitch right above it and pull it through like so. Then I'm going to take this exact same darning needle, I'm going to put it through the next stitch of my arm. I'm going to go through one of the stitches of the body around the same place where the arm is, and I'm going to just pull it through like so. And you want to pull on it a little bit like that, and then again take your darning needle, put it through your arm, and then that arm is closest to this stitch on the body, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring my darning needle and push it through that stitch like so, and then just pull it through. Okay, and then once your arm is in place, you can knot it in place. What I'm going to do first is, right now the yarn is coming through the body. I'm going to take my darning needle, bring it through the closest part that I have to the arm. I'm going to bring it through like so, pull it through. Then I'm going to go ahead and bring this darning needle through the loop of that yarn, and then pull really, really tightly to fasten off like so. And just to be on the safe side, I'm going to bring my darning needle through the body and through the back, and I'm going to pull it through a few times just to make sure that everything is in place. Okay, I'm going to do that a few times, and then I'm going to cut the excess yarn off. Okay. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other side that I did here. Again, you just need to eyeball it and stitch it as best you can. Doesn't have to be any exact stitches apart or anything, it just has to look pretty even. I'm going to go ahead and do the second arm off camera. Okay, I've sewn the other arm on, and now we are going to do the legs. And again, we're going to do the exact same thing when we are going to just sew the top of the leg closed, just because it's easier to sew on when you have less loops to go through. And once you've sewn everything together, you're going to go ahead and figure out where you want your legs to be. Again, there's no right or wrong way that you can put this on. You just sort of need to eyeball it. And I think I'm going to place my leg around here. I think that would work out the best. And we're going to be doing the exact same thing that we did for the arms. I'm going to eyeball it right here. And I'm going to hold the leg down with my thumb. And I'm just going to bring my hook, or my darning needle, right through the stitch above where I want my leg to be sewn. So this is where my yarn is attached to my leg. I'm going to find the stitch of the body right above it, and bring my darning needle through that stitch. Again, I'm going to just work on the top loops of the stitch. Then I'm going to pull through. Then I'm going to go back through my leg, and then pull through, find the stitch right above where I just pulled through of my leg on the body, and pull it through those 2 stitches, then go back through the leg like so, and then the stitch right above where we pulled on the body. Okay, and then to finish off, I'm just going to go through the leg one more time, like so, making sure not to pull it all the way, and then I'm going to bring my needle through this hole, and then I'm going to pull. And then to fasten off, I'm just going to bring my work, or my needle, through my work and pull, and then go through a few stitches here, and then once I think it's fastened enough, I'm just going to snip off the excess yarn, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other leg off camera. Okay, I've attached both of the legs, and now we're going to go ahead and move on to the ears. Ears, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to sew them shut at the bottom, just going back and forth. And we're going to do the exact same thing and get our cat, and we're going to figure out where we want our ears to be placed. Okay, I'm going to have them right here, and again, we're just going to hold the ears down, and we are just going to find the stitch right above where our yarn is and bring our needle through there. Okay, then back through our ear, and then right above where the yarn is on the head, back through the ear, make sure it's tight, right back through the head, and then one more time through the ear, and then whichever stitch is closest to that part of the ear. Okay, and there we have one of our ears to fasten off. Again, we're just going to go through the ear one more time and through the head like so, but instead of pulling all the way through, we're going to go through that loop and we're going to fasten off and tighten in place. Then we're going to bring our hook through the back of the head a few times just to make sure it's secure, and then snip off the excess piece of yarn, and then go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Okay, and once you have both of your ears sewn, that's going to be it for your cat. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and I'll do my best to respond to them as soon as I can. Anyway, if you have any suggestions for other videos that you would like to see, let me know those as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!